All right, welcome back to our special coverage of last night's historic election. As we continue to digest the results, I want to bring in one of the most well-known pollsters in all of America, Frank Luntz, political consultant and author of the book Words That Work. Frank, thanks for being here tonight. First things first, give me sort of the autopsy, if you will, on the polling, the political polling in America leading up to this election and the results that we saw.
Well, the worst one was the Des Moines Register poll. And that one was not just wrong, it was absolutely dead wrong. They had Harris up by 3 points. It changed the entire coverage for the last 48 hours. 3 points in Harris's direction. Trump won the state by more than 10 points. It was an embarrassment for the polling industry. The other surveys, for the most part, had Trump and Harris dead even. So you'll be off by 2%. That's not a big deal. In some of these states, they were not measuring the fact that Trump had caught up to Harris and moved ahead of her. And it's one of the challenges that I gotta say, you're spending too much time on polling and not enough on policy. The public is interested in the horse race, but what they really care about is what you're going to do on immigration, what you're going to do on affordability, what you're going to do on national security. And in the end, there's too much of this horse race stuff and not enough on the real stuff that matters, because that's going to change people's lives. And in the end, that's what our responsibility actually is, to tell people the truth about where America stands and what these politicians are going to do.
So, Frank, let's stay there, right? Let's marinate on that then. You wrote the book Words That Work. What worked for President Trump?
Well, the fact is, it's a great question, simple question, but it's exactly it, because I was one of those people who thought he would not come back. And I was one of those people who thought after that disastrous debate where he really did badly, that he was done. And he wasn't. First, his support is so hardcore. Never in my adult life have I seen any politician who has more people, more dedicated, more loyal, more intense and passionate. You can add all the superlatives and you still won't get there, because they will walk through water, they will walk through fire to get Donald Trump elected. And Harris simply didn't have that. And the second thing about Trump is that he was prepared to say anything. So he got people talking, he got them engaged. He got people to consider what had happened over the last 4 years. And frankly, it was not successful. And the public finally decided that rather than go backward with Harris to repeat Joe Biden, because remember, she had said, I can't see any difference between myself and Joe Biden, which turned out to be one of the worst statements of the election campaign. Trump, was able to say, go forward with me, and the public saw this as the future rather than Harris, Vice President Harris being the future.
Frank, our entire lives right now, the storytelling process, we tell ourselves, we tell our friends and family, it's done through moments, right? Social media, if it's Instagram, if it's Twitter, if it's TikTok, everything is in moments. How did the American electorate sort of forget or put on the back burner the moment of January 6th? I don't need to dwell on January 6th, but I can't forget January 6th, because I covered it. It was a crime scene at the Capitol, and obviously it's still going to be litigated in the courts. It might get dropped now. But how did America move past that, and why do you think they did?
By the way, these are great questions. And in the end, Americans must consider what happened on January 6th, because it was not ordinary. It wasn't even extraordinary. It was once in a lifetime occasion that really was a threat to what was happening in our government. The fact that senators and congressmen were quite literally running for their lives is something serious. But in the end, the public doesn't look backward. They're not rewarding someone for the job they've done. They're projecting into the future. And once again, it's not really Trump's mistakes, it's Harris's mistakes that I want to focus on. She never looked at the camera, as I am right now, look the American people straight in the eye and say, this is what I'm going to do in the first hour, then the first day, then the first week, then the first month, then the first 100 days. And you get the idea. She never actually did that, so we never knew where she stood. With Donald Trump, we absolutely knew what he was going to do. So he did not need to see specific plans because he'd already been president. She, I believe, ran one of the worst campaigns, and I'm sorry that my language is not following your video here, but I think she ran one of the worst campaigns, and she made the same mistake that Hillary Clinton did, assuming that she was going to get elected. assuming that the public would not vote for Donald Trump. And that was an absolutely fatal assumption.
Frank Luntz, always great to talk to you, my friend. Always learn something. Thanks for being on the special edition of Top Story. I'm sure we're going to check back with you a lot in the coming days and weeks. When we come back, our political pros join us here on set with what 4 more years of a Trump administration could mean for the country. Stay with us.